Are you absolutely certain that Emmanuel Macron and Angela Merkel will mean that we're going to see the revival of this French-German axis?
Yes, I think this is a very strong priority for President Macron, to rebuild the relationship of trust between Germany and France and to move ahead in terms of trying to reshuffle the European Union and the euro area. I think Mrs. Merkel has been very enthusiastic about the idea of having Emmanuel Macron as a partner. I think everybody in Germany is very enthusiastic about the idea that Macron could possibly revive the French economy, and this is what Germany needs. They need a strong partner in order to revive Europe.
But Philippe, what can he get done? Do we need to wait for the general elections, so the legislatives, for him to actually get down to work? Will he be distracted by trying to get enough support to actually push the reforms through?
Well, the legislative elections are in 4 weeks. I have no doubt that Emmanuel Macron will be able to find a majority in Parliament. You need to understand that we are in the middle of a comprehensive reshuffling of the political landscape in France. The Socialist Party is almost dead, and the Republican Party, centre-right party, is in a big disarray. They are split about the strategy to pursue, and I think many of them are ready to work with President Macron. And then you have the new party, which is En Marche, now the République En Marche, which is the party founded by Emmanuel Macron. If you look at opinion polls, many people in France want to give him a majority. I was looking at the polls yesterday, and they have improved ever since last week, giving close to 30% to him. So I think there's a real willingness to give him a chance, and both the centre-right and the centre-left, there will be some people who will be ready to work with him.
We have a willingness. How different it could have been if Le Pen had been the one in power in France, and if the AfD was continuing to do well in those German state elections, which it isn't. So the political landscape in Europe looks so much more settled than it might have otherwise done, which has got to be great news for the economic outlook, and it's got to be great news for the markets.
Let's bring up a chart here. We'll do this for Mark Gilbert at Gadfly right now. France-Germany spread. Mark's got this tattooed on his left arm. There's the crisis. Down we go. Here's the angst about the French election. And here's a very nice, well-structured recovery as well. Mark Gilbert, within your reading of the French press, how large will the Labour uproar be against this new president?
I think the appetite is there for change in Europe, and I think Macron has got the willingness, he's got the backing now to implement some reforms. It's not going to go that fast, but I think that with the euro now looking safer than it's looked for a long time, you know, Greece, they've kicked the can down the road again, but it looks like Greece is not going to default in July. The Italian election scenario looks like it's less likely to have an early election this year. You know, everything's stacking up in favour of Europe at the moment, and those labour market reforms that Macron needs to introduce, you've got to be optimistic that at this point in the political cycle, at least, he's in with a chance.
Philippe, what is it in for the Germans to assist Mr. Macron with his reformation? What is the motivation of the Germans to meet the French halfway?
I think their motivation is definitely first to make sure that Emmanuel Macron is going to make his homework in France. And also, they want to discuss the future of Europe. For sure, over the last couple of years, the influence of France has receded on Europe because France was weak economically. So if we are in a situation where France is able eventually to implement reforms and to regain some economic strength, I think this will be the right partner for Europe, for Germany. And I think Germany is definitely willing to have a strong partner. They don't want to be the leaders on their own. And from that respect, I think Mrs. Merkel is very hopeful about this new relationship with Mr. Macron.
Philippe, I know in politics we should never assume, but is it almost a given now that Martin Schulz will be out of the race? I mean, he said he'll fight on, but it looks a lot more unlikely than it was a week ago that he's a real challenger to Angela Merkel.
We still have 4 months to go, so we need to be very careful. Remember, 4 months ago in France, there's been a lot of surprises since then. Yes, I mean, there's been a Schulz effect when he was announced as the candidate of the SPD, and there's been a boost to the SPD, definitely. And the SPD is going to do better with Schulz than it would have done with another leader. But I think German people, I mean, remember that Germany is strong economically, unemployment is very low. There's no real need to change anything for German people. And I think they hate uncertainty, and they would certainly go again for Merkel. I mean, whether the SPD is able to lead, I'm not sure. But what is clear is that I'm not sure the SPD has a strong economic line, has a strong economic view. In many countries, social democratic parties are split about the strategy to pursue in terms of economic policy, and the SPD is not an exception from that respect. So I think we need to see the programs. Today, we don't know yet what their manifestos will be. We have an idea that Merkel will favor tax cuts, and the SPD will favor boosting expenditures in terms of infrastructures. And I'm not sure this is something very appealing for German people. But we'll see. But I would say, yes, I mean, certainly Mrs. Merkel is better placed today to win the election.
So we could see some fiscal boost to go with the monetary stimulus that we've seen from the ECB?
In any case, yes. In any case, there will be some fiscal boost in Germany, whether it's from tax cuts or expenditures.